So we are going to start October, November 2022. Paper 1 and October, November 2022. Okay. Now number 1. Which raw shows the most appropriate apparatus for the measurement given? To measure 25.0 centimeter cube measuring cylinder.
Yes.
32.7 centimeter cube of solution using pipette. No, this cannot be an answer because pipette use the can measure only fixed volume, which is now mostly 25 centimeter cube. Burette have a maximum capacity of 50 centimeter cube, so we don't use burette for 80 centimeter cube solution. Okay, now we are left with A and C. 75 centimeter cube of a gas can be measured in gas syringe, and for this measuring cylinder is for approximate, so you cannot measure 25.0 centimeter cube, but you can measure 25 centimeter cube. Okay, so A goes wrong, and in this case C is your correct answer. Is this understandable to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Sir, why cannot be it measuring cylinder?
Sorry,
Sir, why can it not be option A?
because it's a 25.0 centimeter cube. Remember, measuring cylinder is for approximate measurements, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's why we cannot measure exact 25.0 centimeter cube. So instead, if it is written 25 centimeter cube, then it can be considered.
Yes, sir.
Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now, question number 2. A liquid X is distilled from mixture using the apparatus shown. Okay. During the distillation, thermometer reads 157 degrees Celsius to 160 degrees Celsius. Which information about liquid X is correct? See, during the distillation, the temperature is changing, and this is a change in temperature. So temperature change indicates that it is impure. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you see X is a mixture that can be separated by distillation, no. X must contain two liquids with a boiling
No.
point 157 to 160 degree. No, you cannot predict their boiling points. X must have obtained by the fractional distillation of petroleum
No,
or crude
sir.
oil. It is not necessary. The liquid in X, okay, may or may not be miscible. Yes, there is a possibility that it may not be miscible. It means that there are two liquids mixed with each other. So that is the possibility. That's why A is the correct answer for this case. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, question number 3. An aqueous solution contains a salt Y. Addition of an aqueous solution X results in the precipitate being formed that redissolves when more X is added. Okay. So when an aqueous solution of X is added to a Y, a precipitate would form, and when we add more X, then the precipitate redissolves. So it indicates that this thing that precipitates are forming of a precipitate and then redissolving of a precipitate is actually due to sodium hydroxide. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, just give me a minute, please. Okay, sorry. So it can be a sodium hydroxide because on adding sodium hydroxide, we get a normally precipitates. And
Yes,
that
sir.
precipitate dissolve when excess sodium hydroxide is being added. That makes A and B wrong. Now we have a B and C and D. In copper sulfate, if there is a copper, then you will get blue precipitates, and these blue precipitates are insoluble in excess. So they doesn't dissolve.
So it will be D.
So C goes
Then
wrong.
green sulfur.
Then B is the correct answer. And in the case of D, when there is a zinc ion, zinc forms white precipitates, which dissolves in excess. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 4. Which gas diffuses at the fastest at the same pressure? Okay. So the gases at 50 degrees Celsius will be excluded.
Sir, it
No,
will be, I think,
sorry. The gases at the lower temperature would be excluded because
yes,
at lower temperature, the rate of diffusion is slower.
yes.
Now we have a nitrogen at 50 degree and oxygen at 50 degree. If we go for their MR, we will find 28 for nitrogen and 32 for oxygen. So oxygen have a heavier MR, which makes it to diffuse slower. So D goes wrong and B is the correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now question number 5. The diagram shows the outer shell electrons of the atoms of two elements Q and R. Okay. If you look at Q, it is from group 2. And if you look at R, it is from
Group 6.
group 7.
Group 7, yes.
The sulfate of Q is insoluble. Element R is gaseous at room temperature and pressure. So it's group 7 and it's gaseous. So it may be fluorine or chlorine. Which rock would be correct? So these are the relative atomic masses of bromine. So bromine is a liquid at room temperature, which makes B and C wrong. These two are chlorine and proton number of Q. If you look at 12, this 12 is magnesium. Can anybody confirm me whether 56 is calcium or strontium?
Sir, 56 is barium.
Strontium or barium? Barium, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, barium.
So magnesium sulfate is soluble, which makes A wrong,
Yes.
and it means D is the correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 6. Which statement about iodine atoms and iodide ions are correct? Iodine atom is I and iodide ion is I negative. They are both isotopes of iodine. Completely wrong statement. They undergo the same chemical reaction. Again, wrong. They have the same number of protons. Yes, this is correct. They
Yes.
have a physical properties. No, it's not
No.
correct. So C is the correct answer in this case. Is this clear to everyone? If anyone have any confusion, do ask, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now, question number 7. The element chlorine has two isotopes, chlorine 35 and chlorine 37. In the periodic table, the chlorine is shown as 35.5 chlorine. Which row shows the correct percentage of each isotope in a sample of the naturally occurring chlorine? So if you remember, chlorine 35 is 75% abundant and chlorine 37 is 25% abundant. So it is this one. So A, B, and C goes wrong, and D is your correct answer. Okay, you have to remember these values for chlorine. It can be asked that the chlorine isotope of a chlorine with a lower MAR is 75%, and the chlorine with a 37 AR is 25%. Okay, now next question 8. What is the nucleon number of the isotope of uranium? Okay. Yes, what is the nucleon number? It's very easy.
Sir, it's 235.
Yes, it's 235. Remember, the bigger value is the nucleon number.
Yes, sir.
So D, B, and A goes wrong, and C is the correct answer. Now, question number 9. Silicon dioxide, SiO2, has a giant structure. Each silicon atom is joined to 4 oxygen atoms by covalent bonds. Part of the structure is shown. Which property would silicon dioxide expected to have? Okay. Good conductor of electricity, no free electrons,
No.
so this can be wrong. Reacts with hydrochloric acid?
Yes.
No,
Also.
because it's a metal or non-metal oxide. Non-metal oxides are acidic and hydrochloric acid is acidic. Soluble in water? No, we can't say from
No.
this, but as it's a giant structure and the bonds are continuous on all the sides, which makes it that it may have a high melting point. So B is your correct answer.
Okay, sir, clear.
Okay. Now, question number 10. Element X and Y reacts to form compound XY. Element Y has more electron in its outer shell than element X. Compound XY conducts electricity in the molten state. Okay. So C. Element Y has more electrons in its outer shell than element X. So from here we can conclude that it can be non-metal as it have a more electron in its valence shell. And
Yes.
element X can be a metal. And why we could say that? Because its molten state conducts electricity, which makes it an ionic compound. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, which row correctly states the electron change that occurs during the reaction and the type of bonding in compound XY? Okay. So the sharing is not possible. So B and D goes wrong. And covalent is not possible. So C also goes wrong. So we are left with only one option, which is A. So A is the correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Now question number 11. Which compound has the most single bonds in one molecule? Okay, if you look at A have a 6 single covalent bonds. Okay. Then if you look at B have A have, sorry, 7, B have 8. If you look at this one, this one have 4, 5, 6. 6 single bonds, so this goes wrong. This have a 7 and this one have a 8. So A goes wrong as well. If you look over here, so here there are also 6 single bonds, so D goes wrong as well. And B is the correct answer because in B there are 8 single bonds. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now question number 12. The formula of ammonium metavanadate. Okay, it consists of ammonium ions and vanadate ions. So here we can conclude that we remember that ammonium have a +1 ion,
Yes, sir.
right? So this makes B, C, and D goes wrong. See how easy it is.
So it will
And A
be.
is the correct answer. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now question number 13. Which mass of oxygen gas combines exactly with 16 grams of sulfur to produce SO2? Okay. So in SO2, if we will work, the AR of sulfur is 32, right? And there
Yes.
is a one molecule of oxygen whose MR is 32 as well. So 32 grams sulfur is joined with 32 gram of oxygen. So if there is a 16 gram of sulfur, then there must be a 16 gram of oxygen as well. This makes A, B, and D wrong, and C is your correct answer. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, is this clear to everyone? Yes.
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. Now question number 14. The atomic number of ruthenium is 44, means 44 protons or electrons in the atom. One of the oxide of ruthenium is black solid X. 5.79 gram of X contains 1.39 gram of oxygen. What is the empirical formula of X? Okay, so to find the mass of ruthenium, what you need to do, the ruthenium oxide is 5.79. So from 5.79, if I subtract 1.39, I will get the mass of ruthenium, which is actually 4.40 grams, right? So this is the mass of ruthenium. Okay. Can anybody tell me the AR of ruthenium from the periodic table? There is a 4.4 gram of ruthenium and 1.39 gram of oxygen. Yes, can anybody tell me the AR of ruthenium from the periodic table? Yes, can anybody tell me the AR of ruthenium?
Sir, 101.
101. And oxygen is 16. Yes, so can you divide and tell me?
So ruthenium is 0.04.
0.04. And oxygen is
0.08.
0.08. So if you would simplify it by dividing it with the smaller value, which is 0.084, you would get 1:2.
Yes,
So
sir.
D
So
and
let's
A
see.
goes wrong and C is your correct answer. Okay. Yes, is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Question number 15. To 50 centimeter cube of 1 mole per dm cube hydrochloric acid reacts with an excess of solid sodium carbonate. The equation is shown. Okay. What is the volume of carbon dioxide produced when measured at room temperature and pressure? Okay. So solid sodium carbonate is in excess. So from here we get the moles of HCl, which is equals to 250 divided by 1000, as we have to convert it into a decimeter cube, and times 1. So you will find 0.250 moles of HCl. Okay. If you look over here, 2 moles of HCl is producing 1 mole of carbon dioxide. So moles of carbon dioxide formed over here would be half of the moles of HCl. So it would be 0.250 divided by 2, which makes it 0.125 moles. So if you have to convert into a volume, you have to multiply it with 24. So can anybody multiply it with 24 and tell me the answer? I think it would be A. If you solve it, you multiply it, you will get 3
Yes, sir.
decimals.
3 is the answer.
So D, C, and B goes wrong, and A is the correct answer. 16. When excess of aqueous barium chloride, BaCl2, is added to 25 centimeter cube volume and 1 mole per dm cube concentration of sodium sulfate, a white precipitate of barium sulfate is formed. The precipitate is filtered off, washed, dried, and weighed 5.36 gram of barium sulfate is obtained. What is the percentage yield of barium sulfate? Okay, so practically we are getting this one now from calculation. We have to figure out. So for that we have to find the moles of sodium sulfate first. And if you see the mole ratio is same. So whatever the moles of barium sulfate, these are equals to the moles of sodium sulfate, and the moles of sodium sulfate would be equal to 25 divided by 1000 into 1.0. So the moles of barium sulfate you would get over here is 0.025. So if you have to find the mass of barium sulfate, you have to multiply these moles with the AR of barium sulfate, which is 233. So can anybody tell me the answer, please?
5.82. 5.8.
5.8. So this is the theoretical value. So to find the percentage, 5.36 over 5.82 into 100. So it cannot be A and B, obviously, because the difference is very small. So it can be either 92 or 97.
92.
92. Okay, so D goes wrong and C is the correct answer. It means we are getting 92% over here. Now, question number 17. Aqueous copper to sulfate is electrolyzed using inert electrodes. Which statement is correct? Copper is collected at the anode. No.
No.
Copper is a positive ion and it would be attracted towards cathode, not anode. Hydrogen is collected at cathode. No, because
No.
hydrogen above copper. So hydrogen is more reactive, and the one which is less reactive would actually collected at cathode. Oxygen is collected at anode. Yes, there is a
Yes.
sulfate, so it doesn't go to the anode. Instead, hydroxide would go. So that's why oxygen is collected. Sulfur is collected at cathode, completely wrong. So C is our correct answer. Now, question number 18. Concentrated aqueous sodium chloride is electrolyzed using inert electrodes. Okay. There is a aqueous concentrated. Which equation shows the reaction occurring at anode? So if you recall, at anode, in case of concentrated chloride would go, turn into chlorine gas and releases 2 electrons. For that, we need 2 moles of chloride. So if you see here, your equation A is correct and B, C, and D goes wrong. So A is your correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Just give me a minute, please. Okay. Now, question number 19. Which pair of equations correctly represents the reaction taking place at anode and at the cathode during the electrolysis of molten silver bromide? So it's molten. So obviously at anode, anion would go, which is bromide,
Yes.
and bromide turns into bromine.
Br2 plus 2E.
So we need 2 moles of bromide. And in the same way, at cathode, there is a silver ion, which gains electron and becomes silver metal.
Yes.
So for anode, if you see this and this, these two goes wrong. And here Ag2 positive is a wrong ion. Silver have a +1 charge ion only. So A goes wrong, which makes it the C option the correct one. Now, question number 20. Which two processes are both endothermic? Combustion, if you recall, is an exothermic. So A goes wrong. And cracking is endothermic because heat energy is needed. Again, combustion, exo. So it's wrong. Cracking is endo.
Yes.
Photosynthesis is also endo because sunlight is absorbed. Air respiration is exo because food is combusted in the body, food is consumed in the body, producing energy. So D goes wrong as well. and C is our correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now question number 21. A sample of a sulfuric acid is added to 10 gram of zinc granules. Okay, sulfuric acid. A reaction occurs and a gas is produced. The rate of the reaction is increased if a small amount of copper is added. The copper is unchanged after the reaction. Which statement about this reaction is correct? So here I can conclude that copper is a catalyst for this reaction.
Yes.
Copper acts as a biological catalyst in this reaction. Yes, it acts
No.
as a catalyst, but not the biological catalyst. So A
Yes.
goes wrong. Copper lowers the activation energy for this reaction.
Yes.
Yes, this will be right. The rate of a reaction is greater as the particle size of the zinc is greater. No.
No.
If the size gets greater, then the rate of reaction goes down. The rate of
Yes.
a reaction is greater if the pressure is increased.
No.
Yes, for gases only.
Yes.
Here there are two gases. In the reactant, we have a solid and the sulfuric acid. So D goes wrong as well. So our correct answer is B. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for today, we are ending the session over here. And tomorrow
Okay,
we
sir.
will have a class and probably around 8:15 or 8:30. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Then see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Allah Hafiz.